We're just going back on our vacation just to document, after having some time to acknowledge the validity of a random real-time encounter in consideration of all other factors and variables, and to discuss with my husband, despite how this is not the correct physical appearance of me. That there was an evening, I suppose not more than 4 weeks, if that's correct, that I ended up here. But the first 4 weeks that I ended up here, I was given, someone tried to brainwash me and gave me a completely different narrative that I had lived here my entire life, that I was almost 40 years old, that gave me this fake identity. I mean, it was really a bad situation. Tried to fuse like 2 or 3 separate timelines spanning over almost 40 years. I'm nowhere near 40 years old. I'm not even 20, right? So, and I can't see myself. And well, the event that I recall, the precipitating pre and post, I recall having my husband's picture, and then I couldn't look at his picture. And I recall being at one location, one physical geographic location, but I may not have been there. And then there were a series of events that occurred that they tried to backdate to 2014, 2015, and 2021, or 2020, July of 2022, but I wouldn't have been here in July of 2022. So when I first saw the lady with the man who was shorter than her, not much shorter, well, that man seemed to be stockier and shorter. And then I don't know if it was the same guy that was leaning over me in the alcove window. I don't know if he just didn't realize that I was there in a sleeping bag, or if he was going to try to steal something. I think it was that guy. After that, there had been some Caucasian men that were of a specific look in the area that normally would not see in the area. And I wasn't really sure what that was about. One looked like Harry Kane, sort of. And they were openly discussing the sale of crystal meth. And so anyway, the pictures that they populate as being Diana are Carolyn. And I suppose they do look alike. But for me, whatever has happened, they tried to backdate to Dolphin Street, Dolphin Recovery, and the late 80s or early 90s. I wasn't even born. Me and my husband. And it may have been that pink house. And whatever Carolyn did, she tried to literally lock me in a room on the second floor, middle room. And she was absolutely horrible to me. And I guess there's a separate story of Frankie and her twin sister climbing out of a window on the first floor. But I don't know if I went out a back door. Yeah, I don't even know how I got to this door. I don't know if someone put me in their car and just dropped me off, like on the sidewalk. And then the detective in the police district that same night, it may have been near the dumpsters in Starbucks on 39th. And there's this man that can't handle certain startle triggers. And I was just like, he thought I was a student. And I just said I was napping. And that I was fine. So that was less than 7 months ago. Sometime between that date when that officer saw me resting and like 4 weeks, they backdated that almost 10 years. But that's not true, correct? So I suppose 4 weeks after that, very cold temperatures, because I think that was the concern. It's very cold outside. Are you sure you're okay? And do you realize what just happened with less than 10 feet away from you? I was still able to communicate, yeah. So like 4 weeks later, I recall the McDonald's still was in operation. And it was the first time I was over at that food pantry, and I was struggling to, I didn't have our bags had been stolen. And I don't even know if I had had the crop jacket yet, with the long black, like, robe, I guess, but like a suit jacket robe, not like a bathrobe. And I associated with the pictures from the McDonald's, like I was dressed like that. And there are these two individuals towards the corner near the Starbucks that seemed suspicious. And they didn't appear to be physically like assaulting each other, but the guy appeared to almost be stumbling or something like that. And the woman, something was going on where my instincts were like, get away. And then the woman looked at me, and she had these really bright blue eyes, even despite the time. And for me, the first thought was, there's no way that can be Diana, right? But then the visceral is like the spooky, the chills, and all of that, and staying calm, because for whatever reason, despite all of that wide open space, despite being in an urban area, I did not get the impression that I wasn't, no one was encroaching on me, right? Despite the geographical distance away from me and all the square footage around me, right? And I could scream for help and anything, but there was something more going on visceral for me. Not like I had been oppressed or smothered or choked, but kind of that kind of chemical situation. And then for the woman to like look right at me and ask, do you know titles like that kind of, and she almost seems like a superstar, like what people think of if they see a celebrity like leaving a big event, like not Studio 54, but kind of that, just like she has this aesthetic, like not crunch, but like wrinkle to her. That's what we see. Like she sounds like she's chewing gum. She's got like her bangles and jewelry, but she's like that with no odor of cigarettes. There's a certain kind of cigarette that I haven't smelled in what seems like years. And with the steps, I can't stand it. It's different than a regular cigarette. It's a different kind of cigarette. So of course I'm concerned. Well, I wasn't smug, I wasn't smug, I wasn't repugnant. But I would not have known that was my mother, Carolyn, at all. So she, if I'm recalling correctly, because they tried to make this was Claire at Dalton Belgrade, where it was the babysitter Prissy that locked us in the room, me and somebody else that they would have said was Frankie, but they were trying to tell me that Frankie was my husband, that they told me that my husband was dead, but Frankie's not dead. So, I mean, just someone took a pair. That actually did, Frankie's sister took a pair of scissors. When they were kids, they actually had a babysitter named Chrissy. So someone has a lot of information from over decades and was trying to keep, like this was like a Hillary Biden, Kathy Richards operation situation. So, I mean, there's no infidelity. They were just trying to cause brain damage. And they were trying to slowly, insidiously, like, kill me. And they weren't able to. And then somehow I got out. I don't know. There was a little room and a back room. I think it was the same exact house that Frankie, Jesse, and Claire had lived at. So Nikki should know where I'm referencing. And I don't know if Nikki ever took me and husband by the old neighborhood but I don't think the neighbor Melissa would have been there. Maybe she was, and I don't know if maybe she had seen a picture of me from Nikki, if Nikki stopped by, and knew to like get me out of that place. Now, since that event, which would have been right before, was before or after Christmas, but I wasn't here for Christmas, correct? So I don't understand because we have Lutheran church. Our little Christmas is January 6th, January 8th. But to have accomplished did I finish that project in like a day? Okay, because I recall that being over almost a month, but I suppose it was like a day. So we document, and hopefully we have the documentation to figure out where the discrepancies are, because I don't lie. But at some point I may have been locked in Lutheran church. And there's proof of that, and I did that on purpose. Why wouldn't I, right? So I don't know if Megan meant to show me the utility closet, like that's where they found you. But I don't know if people understand that, like, when they try to poison me with certain chemical agents, there's certain I could consume whatever I'm able to consume. So that my husband understands. My concern, like my husband is, I don't know if my brothers understand. We try to be, well, I didn't know that, my first thought was that can't be Diana, right? Because Diana would run and get me. She wouldn't just walk past me. She wouldn't ask me, hey, what time is it? Almost as if she needed a reason just to get past me, right? So, but then in some ways, the harsh truth of who Carolyn is, like maybe they do need to see that and that the majestic of what makes us existing incredibly spiritual. For whatever reason, she was primed to be a bank donor, but she just referenced Nazis. Like something happened to Carolyn, and I don't know if she's like a walking zombie, because she can apparently be very cool. So I don't even know, Carolyn had not seen me. I have to check with the husband and the dads and Diana. Carolyn hadn't seen me. So that's I'm literally I thought there was like but I have like the honor society of stuff, like that's it.